The first time the police decided Rachel Carter was lying, it was because of her hands. Not because they shook, not because her wrists were bruised with dark raw rings like someone had hung her from a wall, but because she kept clenching her fists as if she could still feel the iron. She sat under fluorescent lights that made every face look tired and pale, even the officers. Her two sons sat beside her, pressed close together like they were trying to become one person. Logan's knee bounced so hard the chair leg rattled. Noah stared at the floor and barely blinked. Rachel repeated the same sentence over and over like her mouth couldn't move past it. "He's still down there." The translator said it in Spanish. The officer nodded. Then the officer looked away and exhaled. The second time they decided she was crazy was when she told them where. "In the jungle," Rachel said, "near the pyramids. There's a trail, like a shortcut, but it isn't on the map. There's a house. You knock and..." She stopped. She swallowed the sound that wanted to become a sob. Logan lifted his head, eyes glassy with fury. "It's real. We were there. We saw it." The officers exchanged a look that wasn't cruel. It was worse. It was the look people give you when they've already chosen the story you're in, and it isn't yours. Rachel leaned forward, voice cracking. "Please, you have to go now. You have to go before she moves him." The translator repeated it. The officer nodded again, slower this time, and asked a question that landed like a slap. "Where is your husband's passport?" Rachel blinked. "What?" "His phone, his wallet, his ID." Rachel opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. She looked down at her own hands. Empty. Her throat tightened because she understood what he was thinking. Not witch, not cellar, not a door that went black. He was thinking argument, fight, abandonment. Another tourist story where someone disappears. Logan stood too fast, chair scraping. "We didn't do anything to him." A hand went to a holster, not threatening, just reflex. Rachel grabbed Logan's wrist and pulled him down. "Stop," she whispered. "Please." The room hummed with disbelief and air conditioning, and somewhere far from fluorescent lights, a cellar door stayed shut, and someone was still breathing in the dark. This is what happened to the Carters, and why even now, when Rachel hears a knock, her blood turns cold. 2 days earlier, the air in the Yucatan had weight. Not just heat, but something living, like the sky leaned down and pressed a warm palm to your shoulders. Rachel tried to love it anyway. They needed this trip. David had been working too much, the boys were growing up too fast. Family vacations were starting to feel like something you had to fight for, schedule for, and protect. David protected everything with planning. Printed tickets, backup batteries, water bottles, bug spray. He practiced Spanish phrases in the mirror like he was going into an exam. Rachel teased him about it affectionately, because she loved him most when he was trying to prepare for a world that never promised it would cooperate. Their boys teased him too. Logan, 16, tall and restless, acted like boredom was an insult someone had thrown at him. Noah, 14, still had curiosity in his bones. The kind teenagers usually lose once fear teaches them to stop looking too closely. Their first night was normal. Tacos from a small place near the beach, music drifting through warm air, the feeling of a world that wasn't theirs but still welcomed them. Rachel watched David smile and thought, "This is why we came." The next morning they left early for the pyramids. David carried their supplies like he was escorting a small team through hostile territory. "Everyone stays together," he says as they enter the tourist area. "We see the site, we take pictures, and we do not wander into the jungle like we're in a movie." Logan smirked. "Wow, spoil sport." Noah held up his phone, recording. "This is going on my story." Rachel squeezed Noah's shoulders. "Just don't drop it." The place was breathtaking, stone rising from green, history pressing up through the ground like something stubborn that refused to be forgotten. Rachel listened to the guide and tried to imagine hands shaping that stone centuries ago. Logan pretended he wasn't impressed, but his eyes kept drifting upward when he thought no one was looking. Noah was the one who noticed the narrow trail splitting from the edge of the tourist zone. "Mom," he said, pointing. "Look." No sign, no rope barrier, but the dirt looked packed, like feet had pressed there often enough to make it seem legitimate. Rachel frowned. "That's not part of our tour." Noah's eyes shone. "It looks like a shortcut. Closer. Less people." David heard and immediately shook his head. "No." Logan perked up like someone had offered him trouble. "Why not?" "Because it isn't marked," David said. "Because there's a reason it isn't marked." And Noah made a face. "Dad, it's right there. Just for a minute." Rachel hesitated. Not because she thought it was safe. Because she saw Noah's hope. That little sparkle that said, this could be a memory. She looked at David. "Just a few minutes. We stay together. If it feels wrong, we turn around." David stared like she'd betrayed him, then sighed the sigh of a man walking into something he already knows he'll regret. "Fine," he said. 5 minutes. Noah grinned, and Logan laughed. And they stepped off the path and into the trees. At first, it felt like relief. Shade, cooler air, sunlight filtering through leaves in broken patterns like stained glass. The crowd noise faded. Rachel almost relaxed, and then the sound changed. Not suddenly, subtly. The bird song thinned. The insect noise became a uniform hiss like static. Logan glanced back. "We still close to the entrance?" David checked his phone. "Yeah, we're fine." The GPS arrow on the screen spun once, then spun again. Logan's phone dimmed. Noah's too. David muttered, "I charged these." Rachel's skin prickled. "David, let's go back." David nodded. "Okay, we turn around." So they turned, and the trail behind them looked wrong. Not dramatically different, just wrong in tiny ways. A fallen branch where there hadn't been one, pale flowers on the opposite side, a bend that felt sharper than it should. Rachel tried to keep her voice light. "Okay, fun detour, now we go back." Noah didn't laugh. He was very quiet. "Mom," he whispered, "do you smell that?" Rachel inhaled. Sweet, not floral sweet. Sweet like sugar about to burn. Sweet like milk left out too long. David's jaw tightened. "Keep moving." They rounded a bend and the trees opened into a small clearing, and there it was. A small house, crooked roof, dark windows, no garden, no road, nothing that explained it. Rachel stopped. Logan whispered, "What the hell?" Noah said, almost reverent, "Someone lives here." David's voice was tight. "No one lives here." Rachel grabbed David's arm. "We shouldn't." But David stepped forward anyway, because fear makes people cling to explanations. A house meant people. People meant directions. Directions meant safety. On the door was a symbol scratched into the wood. A circle with lines through it, like a sun crossed out. Rachel's skin prickled harder. Logan hung back. "Dad, don't." David lifted his hand. Rachel opened her mouth to stop him. David knocked. The sound was wrong. Not loud, not sharp. It died too quickly, like the air swallowed it. David knocked again, harder. The door shifted slightly in its frame, the way old wood does in heat and humidity. Rachel whispered, "David." The light dimmed. Then darkness rolled out from the doorway in a smooth wave, silent and thick like ink and water. Rachel's last clear image was Logan's face, wide-eyed with sudden terror. Noah reaching for a hand. David turning with his mouth open to shout. Then the world went out like a switch. Rachel woke up to pain first, then cold. Iron cuffs bit her wrists. Chains pulled her arms overhead. Stone pressed damp against her back. The air smelled of earth, mold, and something faintly sour beneath it. "Mom?" Noah's voice cracked in the dark. Rachel's throat tightened with relief. "I'm here." Logan groaned. "My arms. Jesus." David's breathing came from the far corner, heavy and uneven. "Rachel? Boys?" Rachel swallowed. "We're here. We're together." A thin line of light cut down from above, coming from a crack under a door at the top of the stairs. A cellar. Rachel's stomach turned. She looked at the walls. Scratches, names, dates, words carved into stone with nails or desperation. Some in Spanish, some in English. One phrase repeated in multiple handwritings. "Don't look into her eyes." Noah whispered, trembling. Why would someone write that? Footsteps sounded above them. Slow, deliberate. The cellar door opened. Yellow lantern light spilled down the stairs. A woman descended. Older, thin, hair braided tight. A plain dress stained at the hem with jungle mud. Not theoretical, not obvious. But the moment she entered, Rachel felt it. A pressure in the air. A wrongness that made her skin prickle and her teeth ache. The woman carried a small bowl, dark inside, and a bundle of dried herbs tied with string. She spoke. Not Spanish, not English. The words felt heavy as if they pressed into the walls. Noah made a small sound, almost a whimper. Logan yanked his chains. "Hey, let us out!" The woman ignored him. She walked to David. Rachel's chest went tight. "Please," she said. "Please take me instead." The woman smiled gently, like Rachel had said something amusing. She dipped her fingers into the bowl and smeared the substance across David's forehead. Ash and oil. David jerked. "Don't touch me." The woman leaned close and whispered into David's mouth. Not kissing, not biting. Whispering like a command needed to be breathed directly into him. David's body went rigid. His eyes widened, then seemed to empty, as if something inside him had been turned down. Rachel screamed his name. Logan roared and yanked so hard the ring in the wall squealed. Noah cried openly, voice breaking into begging. The woman placed her palm on David's chest. A faint shimmer lifted from David's skin like heat haze, but thicker. It looked like smoke, but it moved with intention. It flowed into the woman's hand, up her arm. She inhaled deeply, slow and satisfied. David sagged. His head drooped. His breathing turned shallow. Rachel choked on panic. "David! David, stay with us!" The woman stepped back. Then in Spanish, slow and clear, she said, "I'm hungry." Her smile softened. "And you walk so easily." Then she turned and climbed the stairs. The door shut. The light vanished. Dad's voice was thin. "Rach, I'm cold." Rachel fought her chains until her wrists screamed. Hold on. Logan's voice shook with rage and fear. "We have to kill her." Noah whimpered, small and broken. "Mom, what do we do?" Rachel forced herself to think like a mother instead of a person falling apart. She searched the ground with her feet. Something scraped under her shoe. She looked down. A rusty nail, bent, sharp enough. She nudged it closer and, with aching shoulders, grabbed it. She tested the cuff. A spring pin mechanism. Rachel whispered, "I can pick this." Logan's breathing hitched. "Do it." Rachel worked the nail into the pin channel, hands trembling. She froze twice when she thought she heard footsteps, holding her breath until her lungs burned. Then, click. Her cuff loosened. Rachel bit down on a sob and pulled her hand free. She moved quickly, quietly. Logan first. Click. Noah next. Click. They were free. They rushed to David. Rachel knelt down in front of him. "David, I'm here." David's eyes fluttered. Don't leave." Rachel jammed the nail into his cuff. The mechanism resisted. She pushed harder. The nail bent. She tried again, and it snapped. The tip broke inside the lock. Rachel stared at the broken nail in her hand, heart dropping. Logan whispered, "Mom, listen." Footsteps above. Noah's face drained of color. "She's coming back." Rachel's mind went cold and sharp. They didn't have time to free David. If they stayed, the seller would take all of them. Rachel grabbed a broken pry bar from the pile of old belongings in the corner. Rusted, but solid. Logan tore a loose stone from the wall, edge sharp. Noah picked up the lantern, heavy, knuckles white around the handle. Rachel whispered, "Noah, go for the keys. She has keys." Noah nodded, terrified. The cellar door creaked open. Lantern light poured down again. The woman descended. She stopped at the bottom step when she saw the freed cuffs and broken chain. Her calm flickered. Her smile sharpened. She spoke in that strange language again. Rachel felt pressure in her chest, like invisible hands squeezing her lungs. Logan tried to move and stumbled as if the floor had turned sticky. Noah's eyes widened in panic. Rachel reacted on instinct. She swung the pry bar into the lantern. Glass shattered. Light died. Darkness slammed down. Then the pressure eased. The woman hissed, harsh and furious. Logan surged forward and slammed into her. Rachel struck her shoulder with the pry bar. A dull thud. A scream. Noah lunged low, hands searching at the woman's waist. His fingers hit metal. Keys. He yanked. The key ring came free with a hard jerk. The woman's head snapped toward him. Rachel caught the glint of her eyes and shouted, "Noah, don't look at her." Noah flinched like waking from a trance and scrambled back. The woman spoke louder, and the shadows shifted in a way that made Rachel's stomach drop, like the air itself was obeying. Rachel felt a tug in her chest, like a hook catching. Logan slammed the stone down onto the woman's hand. She shrieked. Noah dashed to David and fumbled keys into the cuff lock, hands shaking so badly the metal clinked like teeth. One key didn't fit. Another key didn't fit. Another. Rachel kept the woman back with the pry bar, swinging wide, refusing to let her close the distance again. Logan grappled and shoved, face twisted with fear and rage. Noah found the right key. The lock turned. Click. The cuff loosened. Rachel's heart leapt. Then the mechanism stuck. It wouldn't open cleanly. Noah pulled harder. David cried out, pain bright and sudden. The woman lunged toward them. Rachel slammed the pry bar into her ribs. The woman staggered but didn't fall. Her mouth opened and her voice became hunger-given sound. Rachel looked at David, chained, weak, alive but fading. David forced his head up, eyes pleading. "Rachel, go." "No," Rachel choked. "No." David's voice was thin but absolute. "She'll take you. She'll take the boys. Promise me." Logan's voice cracked. "Dad." David swallowed like it hurt. "Promise." Rachel felt her soul split. Logan grabbed Rachel's arm, shaking his head, begging her without words. Noah's tears streamed. "Mom, we have to." Rachel backed away, choking on grief. She grabbed the keys from Noah. She stared at David's face, trying to memorize every detail. David whispered, "Run." Rachel swung the pry bar one last time, forcing the woman back. And then she turned. She ran up the stairs with Logan and Noah. They slammed the cellar door shut behind them. Rachel shoved keys into the lock and turned. From below, David screamed. Not once. Again. A sound that turned Rachel's knees to water. Logan grabbed her shoulders. Mom, move. Noah sobbed, stumbling forward. The old floorboards creaked beneath their feet as they ran, the building settling and groaning the way old structures do. Rachel ran into the daylight, into the jungle, into a world that suddenly felt too bright to hold what they'd just done. They ran until their lungs burned and their legs shook. Rachel had no direction, only the instinct to put distance between them and the woman down there. Vines snagged their clothes, roots tried to trip them, branches scratched skin raw. Noah cried as he ran, a broken, breathless sound. Logan kept glancing back, expecting to see her braid, her lantern, her silhouette between the trees. Rachel clutched the pry bar in one hand and the keys in the other. She wanted to throw the keys away, but she couldn't. Keys meant cellar. Cellar meant David. After what felt like forever, they burst into a clearing. Rachel stopped so hard she almost fell, because the clearing was familiar. Pale flowers, the half-buried rock that looked like a face, the bend in the trail. Logan stared, horror crawling across his expression. No. No way. Noah's voice shook. We're back. Rachel's stomach dropped. The trail had looped them, not naturally, intentionally, like someone kept guiding them in circles. Noah whispered, "Do you hear that?" Rachel listened. At first, nothing. Then, faintly as if the sound was coming from inside the dirt, a voice. David's voice. Rachel. Rachel's heart stopped. She spun, eyes scanning the trees. Logan grabbed her arm hard. Mom, no. Noah sobbed. That's Dad. The voice came again, closer. Help. Rachel's body tried to move toward it like a magnet pulling iron. Her foot shifted. Logan shook her. That's not him. It's bait. Rachel's throat tightened. It sounds like him. Logan's voice broke with anger and grief. That's the point. Rachel forced her eyes shut and spoke through clenched teeth. That is not your father. Noah whimpered. Mom. Rachel opened her eyes and looked at her sons. Listen to me, she said, trembling but fierce. If we go back, she takes us too. Then no one is left to bring help. No one is left to fight. The voice whispered again. Rachel. So close Rachel felt cold brush the back of her neck like a breath. She whirled. Nothing. But the shadows between trees looked heavier now. Logan hissed. Run. They ran again, and this time Rachel focused on one thing. Human signs. Trash, rope, a post, a barrier, anything. Noah stumbled and cried out when something cut his leg. Rachel didn't stop. She couldn't. Not when the sweetness returned in the air. That burning sugar smell that made her stomach flip. Not when she heard soft footsteps behind them that didn't match their rhythm. Not when Logan whispered, voice strangled, Mom, I hear her. Rachel didn't look back. She refused. They crashed through brush and nearly fell over a rope barrier, a marked tour's path. The world snapped back into normal sound. Real insects, birds, voices. A tour group rounded a bend ahead, bright hats and cameras. Rachel staggered onto the path like she'd been yanked from a nightmare. Noah dropped to his knees, sobbing, clutching his bleeding leg. Logan shouted hoarse, Help! Call the police! People rushed in, startled, confused. A guide knelt by Noah and began asking rapid questions. Within minutes, security arrived, then police. Rachel tried to explain. She tried to shape the story into something that fit inside a human mind without breaking it. A house, she said. We got lost. We knocked. We woke up chained. There was a woman. She drained my husband. He's still down there." The translator repeated. The officer listened, patient, then asked about passports, phones, wallets, the usual anchors of truth. Rachel had none. Logan insisted, voice cracking. "We didn't leave him. We tried." Noah sobbed. "Please, please." Rachel held up the keys. "These are from the cellar. Please, go. He's alive." The officer examined them and handed them back, expression careful, not cruel. Tired. Like he wanted to help, but he didn't know how to step into the story Rachel was describing. A search was organized, not urgent in the way Rachel needed. They brought Rachel and the boys back to the edge of the tourist area. Rachel pointed with shaking hands. It was there, that trail. But in the brush there was no clear opening now, no packed dirt, no obvious path. The search team pushed into the trees anyway. They marked their route. They walked for nearly an hour. Rachel waited for the clearing, the house, the door. But the jungle only offered bend after bend, clearing after clearing that almost looked familiar but never matched exactly. They found no structure, no cellar door, no stairs, no proof. A guide spoke quietly to an officer. The officer's face tightened. The translator stepped closer to Rachel, voice gentle. "Sometimes," he said, "people panic. Heat, dehydration. You can see things." Rachel stared at him, shaking. "We didn't imagine the chains. We didn't imagine him screaming." The translator's eyes softened. "I believe you. I believe it," he said. That sentence hit Rachel like a blade. Logan exploded. "So what, you think we abandoned him?" The officer raised his hands, calming but already backing away from the story. They escorted the family back. They took a statement. They promised follow-ups, formal processes, more searching. Words. Only words. That night, Rachel sat in the hotel room and stared at her bruised wrists. Logan sat by the window like he expected the jungle to crawl through the glass. Noah lay under the blanket with wide-open eyes. Rachel's phone rang with embassy numbers and hotel staff and official voices. But when Rachel closed her eyes, she saw only David's face, and the woman's still eyes. Rachel whispered to the dark, voice breaking and hard at the same time. "They think I'm crazy." Logan's jaw clenched. "Then we don't wait for them to believe us." Noah swallowed, trembling. "Mom, what do we do?" Rachel stared at the keys in her hand until her fingers cramped. Then she spoke, low and certain. "We don't knock again," she said. "Not ever." She inhaled slowly like she was trying to keep herself from shattering. "But we're not leaving him down there." Rachel turned off the light, and in the dark, the room felt too quiet. Like someone far away had heard her. Like someone far away had smiled. Because somewhere in the jungle, beneath the cellar door no one can find, a witch is still practicing her hunger. And one day, she'll want more. If you ever get lost and find a door where no door should be, don't knock. If you want more stories like this, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the next time she gets hungry, it might be closer than you think. Good night.